So Carolyn, you're the producer.
Yes.
Which basically means you're the one that makes it happen.
Well, I lead a team of a lot of people that make it happen.
Right.
So it's been a large group. It's a huge musical.
You saw an early reading of
Yes.
this.
I heard an early version in the basement of the Empire State Building. Chris had presented about 8 or 10 songs. And from there, we've been to Goodspeed Opera House, to Chicago, and now to Broadway.
Wow.
It's been a long process, but
Right.
it's a great
How
process.
long in production? How long have you been working on this?
For me, 2006, but for Chris,
1997. That's when I actually got the idea.
1997.
That's when I found the book that kind of set it all in motion.
So tell me that story.
I was working as a youth and education director at a church and running a hockey league and had an hour to kill. And literally I would go and just pull books off the shelf, and I pulled one at random that said John Newton. I had no idea who he was. Didn't know he'd written Amazing Grace.
Amazing story.
yeah.
Amazing story.
It is. Yeah. It is. And I read it, and I'm going through, and we've got storms and battles, and he's enslaving human beings, and then he is enslaved himself, and then he has this tremendous transformation, spiritual transformation, and then that transformation goes and affects our world down to today. So it was just, I had to do it. I had to figure out a way.
And then I think this is the thing that we've always liked as a nation, but I don't know if we embrace it anymore, and that is redemption. We've always liked the comeback story, the guy, you know, and I'm not talking about deep redemption like he had,
Yeah.
but I mean any redemption.
Yes.
We've gone the opposite way now. We like the destruction of people and not the redemption of people.
I think one of the essential needs of humanity is to be loved in spite of our faults. And that's what we're striving for, and I think that's what drove him. And
so here's one of the, I think we as Christians, and I put myself in this category, I think we talk an awful good game. We really talk a good game. But a lot of times we don't live it at all. And it makes us look like hypocrites.
The worst.
The worst.
Yeah.
The worst. I mean, you can only call, the good thing is, you can only call people hypocrites who are flawed and at least espousing, you know, that we should live a higher,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Which society's not even doing that anymore. You're losing the opportunity to call people hypocrites because
nobody's trying.
nobody's trying
Yeah.
anymore, just lowest common denominator. But the one thing that we need to do as Christians, I think, is understand redemption and not be judgmental. I mean, here's a guy that, holy cow.
He was the wretch of a wretch who sold human beings, became enslaved himself, and continued to sell human beings, and through his faith had a redemption, and he changed the world. And I didn't even know his name. I was mortified. I did not know this man's name.
We know the song, we don't know.
We do not know the
Tell
story
a story real
behind.
quick.
Well, John Newton, when he went through a tremendous storm at sea, he was sure he was going to die. And the way we represented it on stage is that he finally gets to this point where he's confronted with all he's done, all these things he's done in his life, and he can't handle it. And he basically winds up on the floor in the fetal position, and he has to shed a lifetime of bitterness there in that moment. And when he rises up, the rest of the story is about transforming the world, writing the song that continues to bless people today.
It's a big Broadway musical, the likes of a Rodgers and Hammerstein, you know, like from that period of South Pacific, where you dealt with racial tension in that show, King and I.
Have you gotten any pushback at all because it's a religious message or a faith-based message?
Well, it's a tougher road to hoe, let's put it that way, and we need to ignite the people who have wanted something culturally relevant for them to show up. You know, we all say the entertainment industry is not something we can embrace. Well, this is something you can embrace, and we need our people who really want and long for something that is also redemptive and entertainment to show up.
When's it open?
June 25, less than 10 days. We,
How you feeling?
I'm not sleeping. The show is so magnificent. The show was a hit in Chicago, and we have every confidence in the show. Now it's about getting the word out, so we appreciate your,
Easy.
When
yeah.
you see 1,000-some people standing, singing,
Every
and raising,
night.
we don't ask anybody to sing. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
really part of the show, but
They can't help
they
themselves.
stand, they sing, and just to, in an 1,800-seat theater in Chicago, and just the idea of doing that here on Broadway. It's just
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
It's
really,
exciting.
it's really out there.
It's really
But we love it.
exciting.
Good. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
The beauty of Amazing Grace is that it crosses so many cultural barriers. It reaches beyond so many things that divide us. And we've tried very hard as a creative team to present the story and then step back and let people take from it what they will.
I think people will leave feeling encouraged, inspired, and I hope able to change something in their life that will then trigger a change in the world that we live in.